are so glad you took the time to dig us up. So, let's get to the wooden stake point, shall we, my dear fiends?
Hello and welcome to Monster Magazine Weekly, the only show that isn't really weekly, but who cares? It's Monster Magazine. We got me and Vance Kaplan and Ricky Blaylock, David Walker, and straight from Harwood, California is the one and only Slim Carity.
Howdy, party people.
Thanks for joining us again. We really love it when you come on the show, and it means we don't have to talk as much. We can just all ramble like psychopaths.
I was going to say, just try and stop me.
Issue number 5 of Monster Magazine comes out tomorrow as we're talking, so just keep a lookout for that. It'll be available through the month of May, and then coming June will be our 6th issue of Monster Magazine, which is the Giant Kolchak issue. It will come out June. And then Ricky will be appearing at the Marble City Con, and that's in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Knoxville.
June 1st and 2nd. He'll be representing his artwork and Monster Magazine. And then we'll all be in Columbia, Tennessee, June 8th or 6th. Which one is it? 8th. Here in Columbia, Tennessee. And if you're in the area, please come out and visit, and we'd love to hang out with you. Slim will not be there, but he will be there in spirit.
Absolutely. Speaking of cons, for those of you who have not seen it, for shame, you need to run watch it right now. The last Monster Magazine upload of the con footage, that's on the Monster Magazine YouTube, right?
Yes.
Or is it on the Vance Kaplan?
It's Monster Magazine. Thanks for giving me the tip on how to do that, make that work.
So my con bag was on it?
Yes. Did you not watch the episode yet? Where you at, Rick?
No, I have not seen it. Pull it up. We can watch it with no sound. while we're doing this.
But you guys just have to see how impressive Ricky's setup actually is. I mean, it looks like it took hours to put that together.
Oh, that was the Clarksville show in Tennessee, and we did have a real good time doing that. We also got to do a panel, which we've never done before.
I have to ask, in the video, why was Ricky standing so far away from you?
I was farting.
I can't believe you actually told the truth for once.
And if you haven't looked at Midnight Monster Party on YouTube, make sure you do that. Our pal Slim is there, and he has some great fun videos to watch. And he's just an all-around cool guy. Thank you, Slim.
I certainly try. I take my vitamins, and my grandfather was a kitten, and all that good stuff.
Very good, very good.
We want to break into his closet and steal his stuff.
Yeah, your latest video, you showed more of your T-shirts in the closet. And the three of us in this room were very impressed with your closet, and we're actually going to move into your closet.
That's fine. Just make Ricky keep his hands off my creature with a black loom belt buckle.
Oh, I want that thing really bad.
I'm just kidding. I would share my belt buckle with Ricky.
He would be very honored for that share. Now, on today's show, the subject has come up that maybe we should discuss cryptids or cryptozoology. This is, for those not in the know, this is the study of or looking at or thinking about or talking about animals or things that may or may not exist, should not exist. It's like Nessie, Bigfoot, Ricky Blaylock, all these things. You know? So here we go with our episode on cryptozoology.
Hey, Ricky Blaylock exists. I've seen him.
Hey, I try not to be seen.
Oh my goodness.
Jenny was right. I did look like I didn't feel good.
You were sick the whole weekend at the Clarksville show. While we're talking, the video's running in the background. So from the Clarksville show, there was a great book I've got somewhere in my stuff. The big book of paranormal or strange. I forgot what it's called, and it's got a lot of sections on cryptozoology.
Well, I guess what I got to ask first and foremost, do any of you boys have an experience with a cryptid?
Closest thing I ever saw that was unusual turned out not to be a real thing. It was just an optical illusion and my stupidity as a child. I thought there was a dinosaur down in Bethel, Tennessee when I was a kid. It was not. It was a crane. Not a crane bird, but a crane crane on a construction site.
Was this something you saw multiple times and thought, oh, that's that dinosaur? Or was it just a one-time, oh, it's a dinosaur?
Sadly, it was multiple times. It was so sad. And I seen it behind some trees, and I was always like a little bit scared, but also interested in what it was. You know, I was like 6 before I finally figured out it was a crane.
Oh, well, I mean, 6 years old. I mean, that's, tiny.
Were you scared by it?
It was like frightened, but wanted to know what it was, And it
Wasn't there a movie in the 80s, kind of in the onslaught of the movies that wanted to be E.T., about some people that found a baby brontosaurus or something like that?
Yeah, it was called Baby.
Baby, that's the one.
Yeah.
Saw that at the theater.
I remember that.
But I don't think I mean, I've seen ghostly things, and I've heard ghostly things, but I've never seen what one would call, a cryptid, a critter of any kind.
And neither you or Dave or Ricky, neither you two?
Have you ever seen a Bigfoot or anything like that?
No, but when I was a kid, when me and Freddie were little, the first time we saw a blue heron,
Yeah.
we were about 5, 6 down at the creek.
16.
And my mom told us it was a pterodactyl. And we thought it was a
Lord.
pterodactyl.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, she got y'all good.
We believed it for a long time, but it looked a whole lot bigger. I guess when you're like 5, 6 years old, everything looks a lot bigger than it really is.
What's interesting is that there was people up until the 1920s and 30s who swore out west that they were thunderbirds.
Yeah.
These basically pterodactyls flying around out in the desert, and it turned out it wasn't that, obviously. But
What was it?
don't know. I wasn't there. Some kind of large bird.
They had been on the
maybe a
peyote too
condor or
much.
something. Well, there used to have these pictures that you would see in magazines and stuff where they had a pterodactyl stretched out where they'd shot it.
Yeah,
And of
I've
course,
seen
that
those.
was faked, But when you're a kid and you hear all these stories, you're like, "Whoa!"
Well, I have actually seen a cryptid.
Tell us.
Tell it.
Now, let me preface this, folks. This was back in the human days, long before your buddy Slim was a goblin vampire hybrid, long before I moved to the haunted trailer park and, creatures and critters and all that thing was just common. This is back in the day when I was a kid and I was still a skeptic. And I'm still skeptical on many things. So with that preface out of the way, I was probably... And by the way, this is the very first time I've ever told this story in a public medium. Saved it just for you guys.
Thank you.
Excellent. Cool.
So I was about probably 11 or 12, and I remember it was summer. And one of the things my father and we used to always go to movies during the summer at night. And the preferable time, I don't know how it worked in your town, but the movies were, the best showings were 9, 9:15, 9:30, and then 9:45. For some reason, 9:45 was my favorite because that was the one that, got you out the latest. You could stay out the latest. I don't know.
Yeah, makes sense.
But so I digress. So we were on our way home from that movie theater, and this next part's going to be a little boring because I kind of got to set up the area. But my neighborhood growing up, through my entire childhood up until I was actually in college, even still living in this area, it was just a couple of streets, 3 or 4, kind of just like crammed into the edge of Georgia Power property. So my actual street, like there was a row of houses on my side of the street, and our backyards led directly into Georgia Power property. And so that was just a big string of dense, thick woods.
Nice.
And then the other side of the street, even though they had houses behind them, there was a long, dark alleyway and then a tall hill that went down to the next houses. So both sides of the street like that were pretty barren, so to speak.
Right.
So we were coming home, and I guess we were just coming up to the top of the hill because it was a very hilly area, and we see, my dad and I both see something kind of standing on the edge of someone's yard, like kind of at the mouth of that alleyway. And it was like nothing either of us had ever seen before. It looked like a greyhound, but it was completely hairless and gray. And I remember it had these big, weird, like buggy eyes, and almost had a rat-like appearance to its face, but it was greyhound-sized. It was huge. And it was late at night, so we actually were able to stop the car, and we were just sitting there staring at it because we couldn't believe this thing we were seeing. And it just kind of finally looks up at us and then turns and walks off and disappears into the shadows of that alleyway.
Wow.
I kind of put it out of my mind for a long time. But then now a buddy of mine, Lyle Blackburn from MonsterBizarro.com, is actually one of the leading experts in the folk monster, the Boggy Creek movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, he's just a very well-respected cryptozoologist now, and I was following his feed and seeing, and it got me to thinking, I was like, I wonder if anyone else had seen that weird thing that I saw. So I went and did a bunch of research, and sure enough, it was a chupacabra.
Wow.
Well, that's what I was going to wonder if that's what it was.
An American chupacabra.
So, were any of the other sightings in the same general area?
Not in my particular neighborhood, but yeah, all over the South.
Oh, okay.
So,
And being that we lived on beside the Georgia Power property, there was all those woods that it could have, been living in. And we went back and looked for it the next day in the daylight and never saw it again.
did anybody report
Seeing it?
No, I mean, did anybody report like animals with their blood sucked out of them or whatever, like with other chupacabra reports?
I don't know. Is that a thing with the American chupacabra? I know the South America chupacabra, which is a totally different kind of creature, is known for drinking the blood.
Sure.
But do the American ones, is that known with them as well?
I'm not sure. I didn't.
I'm not either.
I didn't realize there was a different species.
Yeah, kind of where it originated, the South American chupacabra is more of it has wings.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a lizardy thing.
Yes.
Whereas the American sightings are all describe it just like I said, kind of like a hairless greyhound with big eyes.
I did an episode of Spook Show where I talked about cryptid creatures, and the opening video, the video should still be on YouTube. Someone had actually caught an American chupacabra and had it in a cage. Mm-hmm. And everybody was in the comments going, "Oh, it's just a hairless dog. It's a sick dog with mange, blah, blah, blah." That was not a dog.
Yeah, that's exactly what, some scientists came in. I know the case you're talking about, and they're like, "Oh, that's just a coyote with mange."
Yeah,
that's
it.
The popular thing they say, a coyote with mange. I've seen coyotes. That was no coyote.
No.
And my dad, he grew up on a farm and seen all kinds of wildlife, and he said himself that was no coyote. He's never seen anything like
Even
that
a hairless
before.
coyote wouldn't be as tall as a greyhound.
That's true, too, and not as skinny either.
Oh.
Well, what they claimed was that it had mange and a parasite, and the parasite's what gave that gaunt appearance.
That's baloney right there. That's crap.
Sounds like conspiracy to me.
We're through the looking glass, people.
Well, that's a great story. Does your dad ever reference it in the?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, he vividly remembers it as well. Because it was so what is this?
Wow.
And it wasn't until recently that I just kind of put two and two together. I never thought of myself as someone that had seen a cryptid.
Right. Have you told?
That's interesting. Go ahead. Sorry.
That it's a chupacabra.
What was that?
Did you tell your dad about the research you did?
Yeah, he said that's exactly what it sounds like.
Okay.
Wow.
Little piece of trivia. I don't know if you guys know this, but chupacabra translates into goat sucker.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, we knew that one.
Yeah, and as I was saying, my friend Lyle, he actually has several great books he's written on cryptid topics. Again, like I said, his specialty is the Boggy Creek monster. Mm-hmm. But my favorite book of his is one called Beyond Boggy Creek. Search for the Southern Sasquatch, and it's all about all the different big fetuses from all over the South.
Wow.
I've heard of that
Skunk
book.
Ape and whatnot.
Beyond Boggy Creek. I've heard of that.
And cool thing about Lyle is he's a believer, but he's also a skeptic. So it's not one of those cases where it's well, this is fact, this is fact. He definitely closely looks at everything and takes it with a grain of salt, but just reports what he's told.
That's a good way to handle it.
That's perfect.
Me and David were fortunate enough to see The Legend of Boggy Creek in the theater.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good movie.
Yeah, it frightened us. We were, what, in our early teens?
No, we were younger than that.
Younger than that, yeah.
Because we had just moved into the house,
Yeah.
that new house. We moved into it in 71, so it was 72, 73. I don't know. I'm trying to think of when it came out.
Well, I remember it was packed. The theater was absolutely packed because the movie had a relentless TV ad campaign. And it was like a Saturday night showing. And I remember the scene in the movie, toward the end, I believe, where this guy is in his bathroom, he's sitting on the toilet, and the creature thrusts its arm through the window at him. And he has to jump up off the toilet and run.
And everybody jumped and everybody laughed.
Yeah, everybody jumped, and then the whole theater, just burst out into raucous laughter at the whole concept of the scene. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that movie is it was so far ahead of its time, too. That kind of, even though I wouldn't call it a mockumentary because it's dealing with kind of factual information, but really unique in its presentation.
Oh, yes.
Charles B. Pierce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And from what I understand, they actually hired real people that experienced the stuff to be in the movie.
To interview them and stuff.
Yeah.
And talk with them.
And they actually reenacted the scenes, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, here's a personality question for each of you. Each region, each state kind of has its own representative Bigfoot. What is you guys' favorite Bigfoot or Sasquatch creature, legend, whatnot, if you have one?
Are you talking in general or just out of the big monkeys?
The big monkey, the Bigfootses, the big feets.
The only one I can think of is the people that did that Finding Bigfoot show.
Mm-hmm.
They came to Tennessee and interviewed some people that had seen something at Dale Hollow Lake fishing one time. And then there was another show about Bigfoot where they talked to some woman way up in East Tennessee that claimed she talked with Bigfoot and it came to her house and she gave it this and gave it that and stuff. And this lady is I don't know. If they hadn't have talked with her, it might have been more believable, but I think she had been in the moonshine too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, my personal favorite, I like the skunk ape. I have an affinity to the skunk ape for some reason.
Every time I've watched stuff about skunk ape, it makes sense. If you know what I mean. I mean, like, like with the Yeti, this giant thing that no one's seen, but rarely seen or whatever, and the Bigfoot, same kind of situation. But there's been so many sightings, supposedly, of the skunk ape, and also they found some hair, and they couldn't identify what animal it went to.
Well, did you see the picture? The supposed picture that old lady took from her porch of the skunk ape in her yard?
No, I've not seen that.
No, I hadn't seen that.
Very compelling.
Is that recent?
Well, the rumor is that the skunk ape was an orangutan that escaped from a zoo or was let loose or something and was just kind of living in the Florida swamps, and that's why it was all crusty. And if you look at this picture, it looks like it could be a crusty orangutan.
Cool.
How long ago was the picture taken?
That's a good question. Not terribly long.
Okay.
I'm sorry. In my head, as soon as you said crusty orangutan, all I heard was so I'm sorry. Sorry.
What crusty orangutan made the crust? Oh, crust. Oh, God. Oh,
Hey,
I got
Slim,
you.
I'll take care of this, Slim.
That didn't sound like a shovel.
No, you just.
I wonder if the listeners of this show are getting sick of hearing about this shovel joke that we keep referencing that we have not explained.
Oh my gosh, the shovel joke is just. It's just something fun to say. I don't hit anyone with shovels, and I never have.
Okay, now you're lying again.
Except for Leroy, and poor Leroy's gone now. But it was an accident. No, there was no witnesses. Not anymore. Not anymore at all.
anymore at all. Hit pause there for a sec, Vance.
Yeah. Hold on.
Okay,
Wow,
so we
that's
did a little pause there, folks, so I could send the Monster Magazine boys the actual picture of the Sarasota skunk ape. And are the responses divided? Discuss.
When I look at it, I see like an orangutan that's been out in the woods and it's kind of nasty, kind of filthy. Kind of like Ricky after a weekend.
Maybe a 3-day weekend.
Yeah, but an orangutan has leg hair.
That is true. That is true.
Ricky,
No leg
I'm
hair.
sorry. That is the very last Ricky's leg joke I will ever make. I'm retiring
No,
it.
don't stop. We're
Don't
enjoying
stop.
it.
don't stop believing.
I mean, I've got 2 hairs on my chest.
No. Just,
All right, I have a question for all of you.
Yeah.
What is the single most convincing cryptid photo or film or video footage that you've ever seen? The single one most convincing that you look at and say that's
Has to be real.
Yeah.
Honestly, that skunk ape picture is the only one that I look at and be like, huh, that could be something.
I'm going to have to agree. I mean, that does look pretty dang good.
I
Yeah.
think it looks too good. I think it's a brilliant picture, and it's very scary. I think.
I'd definitely be scared if I looked out and saw that in my yard.
The head looks like a mandrill almost.
Well, look.
Yeah, like I think she said it would come up and like eat fruit or something. Like it wasn't an aggressive thing, and that's why she wasn't scared, like going out onto the porch and taking the picture of it.
Well, that plus we're in the South, so whatever, you know.
Well, according to this lady they interviewed on that show, I wish I could remember it. This lady over in East Tennessee.
Was it 60 Minutes?
No, it wasn't 60 Minutes, but it was
2020?
it was on Animal Planet or something.
Oh.
And this was a German scientist that had came all the way over here to interview this lady.
Was it Jovan Fliegler?
No, I think it might have been, I can't remember his name. But she said that she would give this thing salt. It would come and get salt from her house.
Why would she
And that,
give it salt?
and that she had seen it, there was like a male, a female, a little one. And she said she had seen this thing actually kill a deer.
No. Wow.
Did it ask her for salt with its?
And she said it spoke English.
I say, oh boy, you
Low
got any
gravity
salt?
voice. See, that's why I'm thinking, man, this lady right here, she's got to hope
Yeah,
some bad shine or been in too much shine or something.
She's lost her mind. We won't
I don't
count
know.
that.
That sounds feasible to me.
Crazy old lady saw an ape.
I- the salt-
Okay, well then
salt-
kind of a follow-up-ish question to Dave's. What of all the cryptids and things of that nature, which do you guys think is the most like if any of them actually exist other than in the haunted trailer park, which do you think is the most likely to exist?
I think the dog that was supposedly went extinct in Australia, and that people have been seeing sightings of it on and off 70s, 80s, 90s, and today, I think that's a possibility. Because, you can't count for every animal on the earth.
No.
So, I mean, that's a possibility. And the one that I've always really have latched onto here in the last couple of years is and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, Mokele-mbembe, the brontosaurus one. And there's like a video clip on YouTube where you can like see something in the water with these people playing in the water. And they act like it's no big deal, and they're not afraid of it. And it's not gigantic or anything. So, that's interesting to me. Now,
Is that the thing in South America or something like that? In some lake in South America? Because I think that Josh Gates did an episode of that on Destination Truth.
I don't know. I don't know where it's at. I just know that the tribes people have been drawing pictures of it for years, and then when their tribes were discovered, they were like, "What is this you've drawn on your wall here?" Well, that's Mokele-mbembe.
It is. It's the one I'm thinking.
Yeah, and it's been there for years. Ain't no big deal. It's just a critter out in the water.
What did the TV episode conclude about it?
Yeah, what did it say?
He said that that they had caught something on tape.
Yeah.
But they said it wasn't an alligator and it wasn't a hippo or anything like that,
Right.
and that it's possible that it was something that they couldn't say yes and they couldn't say no.
Yeah. There's one more that I do think is possible, and I was watching, what's the name of that show? Monster Hunter, Monster Quest, what was it called? The giant squid, or the whatever it was called, they actually got a photograph of the thing's eyeball, and it was way bigger than they had expected, and it was just like so down into the base of the water line that it could not be detected. But with this camera down there, they clicked the shot and they got a picture of its eye. Like I said, and it's bigger than a serving plate, the eyeball of this thing.
Mm.
So I mean, that thing's got to be huge. They said, but
they've said that they've had some giant squids wash up in Japan.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff
this
like
is
that.
like way bigger than that.
One guy seemed to think that the ones that washed up on in Japan were young ones,
Oh wow!
maybe that had died.
And then of course, then there's the other one. It's like a octopus-faced bat wing thing, but I think that was from the Dark Times. So you know,
Where did you hear about that one?
it's just some little stuff I've read somewhere. Excuse me. I'm coughing. Thank you.
What about you, Rick?
I don't know. I would probably say the skunk ape because I mean, the biggest majority of those were like South Florida,
Yeah.
and you know the Everglades is a huge place.
Yeah.
Something could live off in there and never be seen.
True.
And you, Mr. Dave?
I would have to say Jeff the Talking Mongoose. GEF, Jeff. On the Isle of Man off the coast of Britain. Back in the 1920s, I believe it was. It became a big sensation in the news. This family, this poor farming family in a big farmhouse, believed that they started hearing, you know, sounds behind the wall, scuffling sounds, and then this creature began to talk to them through the wall and said he was a mongoose, and his name was Jeff, and he would had some way of getting out from the house, and he would kill rabbits and other animals and bring them to the family, leave them on the porch, and anyway, he lived in the spaces behind the walls.
And this was on the Isle of Man?
Yes. And they took pictures. I think the father in the family took pictures of it sitting on a telephone line or something of that nature, or electrical line outside, and it's kind of an interesting, grainy, black and white picture. But a lot of people came to investigate, and nobody was ever able to see it, except for, I guess, the guy when he took this picture that one time. He normally hid behind the walls.
Well, that's a good, deep pull. And you think that's the most likely of truths?
I don't know. I've read a lot of it. That's one I've read a lot about, and I want to believe it's true. I want to believe that a talking mongoose is is something that could have happened at one time.
Well, I got to go, chupacabra, being that I saw one. So.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
But I'm open to the fact. I mean, it did not look like a coyote or whatnot, but I am open to the fact that okay, maybe what we saw was a coyote with mange and a parasite and all the things the scientists use to explain that away.
Sometimes people don't want you to know stuff. They'll tell you a different story. And then there's other times where it's pretty much, it is what it is. But
So you think it's a conspiracy?
maybe.
Why?
That's what I would say would be. I mean, I could see it if it were aliens,
All right.
but just an animal.
Okay, we got to be careful here, okay? So let's start talking. All right? The Georgia Power Company, they have a master plan to replace all the dogs in the area with chupacabras. Now, these are mind-controlled chupacabras, by the way. And what they're doing is, their plan was to scare everybody out of the town so they can expand the area behind the power facility.
What do you mean mind control? They control our minds?
Why are you asking me questions? You already know the answer.
I don't know the answer.
Aha, see?
Okay,
There you
Fred,
go.
where's Velma and everybody else? And Scooby and Shaggy.
Yeah, yeah.
Ruh-roh.
See? See?
But what if they were on there doing some kind of experiment, trying to come up with an alternative power source?
Controlled
And they
by
mutated,
chupacabras.
an actual dog or a coyote
Into a chupacabra.
into a chupacabra.
Maybe the chupacabras run the planet night.
Well, it would make sense that there is some kind of explanation, being that, again, the South American chupacabra is something completely different than this American thing that a bunch of people have seen. Maybe it is some kind of, like, dog that snuck somewhere it wasn't supposed to be.
What if the American chupacabra and the Mexican chupacabra were in cahoots to take over the power plant in all of Georgia? Eventually Tennessee, Florida, maybe Alabama.
What if I am actually part chupacabra and not part goblin?
I knew it. I knew
There
it.
we go.
That's it.
Yep.
We knew it. We knew it.
Living so close to a power plant also could have had a...
Or what could have happened is the chupacabra actually bit you that night and you didn't know it.
I'm pretty sure our doors were locked, but if the chupacabra could get into the car, I would not be surprised.
Or maybe it floated up to your window that night and was scratching on it, going, "Open the window, Slim."
I think your father arranged that sighting for you.
Ooh.
I think he wanted to introduce you to either your mother or a brother.
My real mom was a chupacabra.
It's a
That's
possibility.
a possibility.
I mean, my dad has some questionable taste.
Now, if that had been me and like David, and we'd been riding home from the movies with my mom, my first thought would be, hey, "Yeah, Mama, we're not falling for that one," because she'd be trying to scare us.
Yeah, she was notorious for that. You know. No, we're not making fun of your experience. We're just, taking the piss on because we're crazy like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't even have minded if you were. I mean,
Do you
it's a wacky
think
story.
maybe your dad might have set you up?
I don't know. Where would he have gotten a greyhound from and taken the time to shave it?
Well, that's true. That is true.
My son.
Yeah, my
See,
dad-
my
my dad
mom,
listens to these,
my
by the
mom,
way.
I would not put anything past her like that to scare us, because she went to great lengths to scare the living daylights out of us.
Yeah. Did
Yep,
your
I was
dad?
gonna say-
I'm sorry.
what?
I was going to say, did your dad say stay away from the garage, and you heard him out there going, "Be still, dog, so I can finish shaving you"?
We have a garage that tells you.
Because I remember the night that we went to see, matter of fact, The Legend of Boggy Creek. David swore up and down he saw Bigfoot out the back the window in our bedroom, and we were all terrified.
Yeah, Ricky lived way out in the country, so we were, when we were trying to go to bed that night, we were all scared, and I was looking out the window for some reason, and
I think we heard something. And it
Yeah.
wouldn't put it past me if it hadn't have been Mama.
well, yeah, that would be in line for her, absolutely. Now, you said there were a lot of woods between your backyard and the power company, or the
Well, I mean-
woods were owned by the power company.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of land they owned,
Okay.
like a huge amount of woods.
Did you ever go and explore those woods?
Definitely, and actually it was really cool because you walked through probably like 5 or 10 feet of woods onto a road that had been completely abandoned.
Really?
So there was actually, like, if you moved the foliage, there was actually like what do you call it? Not concrete. What do they make? Asphalt? Like there was actually a street there.
Like chip pavement like they do here?
Maybe it was a UFO landing strip.
But I was going to say earlier, my dad actually listens to all of these.
Oh, wow.
Your dad's awesome.
So he gets to hear Ricky accusing him of who was it, or was it Vance? Whoever accused him of shaving greyhounds out in the garage. He's going to hear that.
Never underestimate your dad. Never underestimate your dad.
Dad's the best pranksters of all.
Yes.
He's going to ask for a refund of that issue 2 he bought.
I'm totally impressed with your dad.
Yes.
Wait, totally impressed with what?
With your dad. Your dad's awesome.
Yeah, he bought a magazine. Awesome.
I mean, here you are.
He bought a magazine. He's awesome.
Here you are, all these. How long ago was it? How old were you when that happened?
11 or 12.
Okay, and it's decades later, and you still think you saw something mysterious, and now you've decided it's an American chupacabra.
Exactly.
So your dad is still getting dividends off of his
joke.
His prank. Yes.
His prank on you.
Yes. Someday he'll fess up.
Fess up, yeah. It's funny, actually, my dad's not much of a prankster, so that would be really out of character. That's why I'm leaning more toward the George Power mind controlling chupacabras
from space.
From space, that's a bit more likely.
Well, we can't ignore the fact that the power company has to play a role in this. I mean, it's just too significant.
Yeah, that's why I said I mean, all jokes aside, I would not absolutely rule out that it was some animal that something had happened to.
Well, since it's power company, maybe a dog got into the hot wires. That's possible.
Scorched all its hair off.
Yeah.
Possible. It was just so skinny.
Made its eyes pop out.
It could have laid there sick for a few days after getting shocked, and that could explain the skinny as well.
It's funny. In my mind, granted, like you said, it's been decades ago, and I'm sure I'm just remembering it wrong and building up in my memory. But in my mind, its face looked like the crazy weasel from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. The one in the straitjacket.
Yes.
That's what I see in my brain when I'm remembering the image.
Oh, wow.
So your dad never tried to scare you or anything?
No, definitely not.
Man.
Well, maybe he did see something interesting.
Maybe he did. If I had seen that and me and David had seen that, we'd have been like, yeah, right, Mama. Yeah, right.
No, see, I had it reversed. My dad was actually very kind, very even-tempered kind of dude for the most part. It was my mom who would play pranks on me and do that sort of thing.
Well, that's the way my dad was. He didn't play jokes and stuff on us, but he messed around with us and he would get us to aggravating each other and stuff like that. But now my mom, she just any opportunity that she had to scare us, she was all on it.
Well, maybe your mother is actually the...
Maybe she pranked y'all both.
Boy, there's been a lot of theories going around. I think I'm going to stick with the fact that she was the chupacabra.
Wow. Yes. So
I guess my dad did on occasion do little good-natured jokes. I remember one time we put on the Spanish language station, and he convinced this cousin of mine that they were actually speaking a language called Old Southern, and it was actually English just with a dialect. And my cousin was believing it. He was actually thinking he was picking out words. He's like, he said broccoli. I just heard him say broccoli. It's like, that's exactly what he said.
That's brilliant.
Oh, wow.
That's good.
But then my mom, on the other hand, I remember one time, I've told this story a zillion times, but it never gets old. I came in one night, she was laying in bed, and I said something to her, and she looks at me and says, "I'm not your mother. I've taken your mother's body," or something like that.
That sounds like something that my mom would do.
How old were you when she did that?
young,
Did it
younger than
frighten-
10,
Did it frighten you?
terribly.
I can imagine, yes.
She pretended she was dead once. I mean,
Oh, wow.
I did that to Freddie the night before me and Jenny got married.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, and he bought it hook, line, and sinker too. And when we started laughing at him, oh man, he was mad. He woke everybody up in the house.
I remember that.
oh yeah, Freddie's your brother, right?
Yeah.
They're 1 year apart. Now, Slim, do you recall what movie you and your father saw that night?
I don't, because we went to, that was kind of our thing, especially in the summer.
Right.
We would go to movies all the time. We've seen hundreds and hundreds of movies together. So
That's wonderful.
That's real nice.
we even had a tradition where every summer we would go to Panama City Beach, Florida for our vacation, and we started going to a movie there. I don't know, there was just something novel about going to a movie in a different city.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I do remember some of the movies we saw on vacation there. Or we saw Wolf with Jack Nicholson
Oh, yes.
down there once.
Yes.
That was a good movie.
I saw that at a drive-in here in southern Middle Tennessee.
Oh, nice. But I guess jumping back to cryptids a little bit, I was going to say that as far as Bigfoot goes, and here's the official Slim statement on Bigfoot, I think that Bigfoot did exist at one point, but I think by now they've died out.
With all the activity, something would have been unearthed. by
Somebody
now.
would have found something.
Yeah, I think so. I think they went extinct maybe in the 70s. Like, I think they've been around semi-recently, but I don't think any of them made it past the 70s.
Well, okay, I want to chime in here. I'm not going to be goofy like I was a minute ago, hopefully. In our area right now, they're clearing out a bunch of land, and it's only a small strip of land, and they're clearing out for businesses, and they're adding a bunch of shops and housing and all this stuff. Well, animals that you don't normally see in this area are starting just to pop up. They were always here in that one little strip of land. So now people are seeing bobcats in the middle of town. They're seeing coyotes in the middle of town. There's someone hit a deer down the street the other day.
Well, they've always been here. I mean, just right down.
Well, since they've been cleared, yeah, I know, but since they've been clearing out, there's been a lot more of it.
Well, yeah.
People are seeing snakes in the area that we normally don't see in this area. So I'm wondering if Bigfoot exists, or if it's some kind of primate, okay, in the area wherever they're at. Maybe they just went further back in the woods because of people trying to find, or getting in the wood. If you get in the woods, animals are going to run the opposite direction. So I wonder if it's something like that. If it's some sort of wooded primate of some sort. It's possible. It's possible.
And I find those stories far more likely than the people that claim that Bigfoot attacked them and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Without provocation.
There was a story where a man was kidnapped by a Bigfoot family, and was it a lady Bigfoot or what was it back?
I remember hearing it.
Yeah, and he was stuck with these people, and he had to trick them to get away from them. And the female fell in love with him and wouldn't let him leave, and all this business. Not what he said, because this guy was probably on drugs and stupid and crazed out of his head. But it's possible that there are some sort of primates that people assume or say, hey, that's Bigfoot. Because we haven't seen every animal on Earth yet. We haven't made a catalog of every animal on Earth yet. Scientists are still finding animals, critters of any kind, every day.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard just in the outback or Australia, isn't the actual city part of Australia very small, and then the vast majority of it is like kind of still wild, so to speak?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, no telling what's lurking. I mean, just in the outback.
Oh, yeah. Like I was saying, with all the animals and stuff, there's no telling what other kind of animals are existing in our neck of the woods, or in your neck of the woods, or wherever you live at, whoever's listening. What kind of animals or reptiles or birds or bugs that or fish or whatever that no one else has seen before that exist that we haven't discovered yet,
Kind of speaking of, I have a somewhat serious question. I want all your responses, but I'll start with Ricky because this seems like a Ricky question. So, would you rather be abducted by Sasquatches and forced to live the rest of your life as a Sasquatch, or forced to live your life in a human zoo, or an alien's human zoo?
Probably a Sasquatch.
I want to pause it for a second.
So I have a serious question for all three of you, but for Ricky in particular. What would you rather happen? Would you rather be abducted by Sasquatches and forced to live the rest of your life as a Sasquatch, or to be abducted by aliens and forced to live in a zoo for their amusement? All of
Sasquatch.
It was in Outer Limits or Twilight Zone. That happened on one of them.
Yeah, it would have to be a Sasquatch.
Oh, I forgot to mention, and there's no takebacks, that you would be the Sasquatch's wife.
Oh, no. Well, you know, the good thing about that is if I was ever able to escape, I could sell my story to the National Enquirer.
This is true.
Yes. I don't think the question permits escape.
So what about you two?
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the alien scenario.
See, I got shafted more than once because I did not know you had to be its wife before I had to make my choice.
You can change your answer.
No, he can't.
I can't. I'm stuck.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to be with the aliens because I saw this 2-part episode of Lost in Space with Michael Rennie, and he was this dude who was an alien zookeeper, and he had this menagerie, of different aliens. It was one of the best episodes of Lost in Space.
Totally agree. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Lost in Space is actually my all-time favorite sci-fi property.
Oh, I grew up loving it. It was before I was old enough to appreciate Star Trek. I was obsessed with Lost in Space.
Same here.
With some of those early episodes, first half of the first season are pretty terrific.
Yeah.
And I love the silly episodes too.
As do I. I actually kind of liked it better when it started to get a bit more like when it went to color and was trying to capitalize on Batman and it got sillier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're right. That's what was happening. Yeah. I love the Carrot Man. That's the zenith or the nadir of of the silliness.
The Vegetable Rebellion. Yeah. So what about you, Vance? Sasquatch wife or Alien Zoo?
I'm going to go with Alien Zoo.
I would too, because at least maybe you'll have cable. I'm not cut out for camping. I would not do well as a Sasquatch.
Or a Sasquatch wife.
Or especially a Sasquatch wife.
I'm really surprised Rick liked that idea.
Rick didn't know until it was too late.
I think it's ironic that a man who does not have hair on his legs is willing to go shaggy.
What'd you go shaggy?
What you go shaggy? Yes, that's right.
You never go baggy. I think I was totally rooked in the deal. But you got to think about it.
But
I can still sell my story to the National Enquirer.
Well, part of the thing is it has to be for the rest of your life, though. So there was no means of escape ever.
Yeah.
See, now it gets even worse. and then when I die, I have to go to Sasquatch heaven.
Yeah, with your Sasquatch husband.
Well,
I don't know. They're not. The Sasquatches. They're not real open to that sort of thing. I don't think you're getting in.
Man, I'm just got totally rooked in the deal.
Your forbidden union does not fly with the Sasquatch.
That's just wrong. It gets even wronger.
Oh my
I don't know.
gosh.
You may find yourself very happy in that scenario. Once you got used to things,
Hey,
it might be the best thing that ever happened.
Don't let me forget tomorrow to go pick up a pound of ground beef.
How do I pound this into your head?
What?
I got rooked.
That's what you're pounding.
Yes.
Okay.
So, any of you guys like cake?
Yeah.
You like cake, Ricky?
Yeah, pound cake. There you go.
Yeah, like pound cake.
It's like Van Halen's best song is pound cake.
I think I just hurt myself.
Okay, give us another hypothetical question, Slim.
Ooh, okay.
You know, in England, I could sell my prints for 20 pounds.
Okay, here's one I actually asked my sister too long ago that she appreciated. Would you rather have the face of a man but the body of a horse, or the body of a man with the face of a horse?
What kind of horse?
4 legs?
Breed. Like if it's a Clydesdale, it'd be worth it. But you know, if
A
it's,
palomino.
yeah, I'd still take the body of a horse. That'd be cool.
In the face of a jackass.
But you know, Vance, I would say that would make your line of work a little difficult.
I don't think it'd bother me, honestly. I don't.
Not being able to draw ever again?
No, I don't think it would. I don't think it would. I mean, if I was like built like a horse, I mean, I could, have other things to do, like running, letting people ride my back, jumping. I don't know. Breeding.
Okay, I got an even better hypothetical, and this one's not quite so horse-centric. Okay, for each of you, if you could, or let's say not even if you could, if you had to be transported into and live in the fictional world of, say, any movie or television show, where would you go?
221B Baker Street.
That's a good answer. Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Yes, I would choose Mayberry, RFD. Not RFD,
Okay.
but the Mayberry of the early Andy Griffith shows.
Okay. So you'd be able to live without, like, DVDs and all that good kind of stuff?
Okay, you're making me reconsider now. Yeah. I don't know. I'm turning it over to Ricky.
That's a hard question. Because, you could say, on one hand, you could say it'd be kind of cool to be in, like, The Walking Dead.
No.
No!
Yeah, you could kill zombies, but, you'd have to be on your toes.
That would be a horrible life, though.
What would
But
you
Ricky
choose,
loves
Slim, while he's
zombies.
thinking for real?
I mean, I have
Just off
dreams about
top
zombies.
of my head,
all
I'd
the
have to say Star Trek The Next Generation.
Make it so, number one.
Oh, that's a great choice.
Yeah.
Because you got this kind of utopian future where there's no hunger, there's no poverty, like everything on Earth is kind of peaceful and nice.
Yeah, that's an excellent choice.
Star Wars is a bit more dangerous. I'd feel a bit safer in Star Trek than Star Wars.
Yeah, and you also have Dr. Beverly Crusher, so yeah, I would pick. That would be a good choice.
My poor math skills, I would never have made it into Starfleet.
No, wow. Same here.
Same here.
All right, Rick, what's your choice? Don't pick zombies. That's a bad choice.
But Ricky loves zombies.
His whole life would be zombies. Wait, shoot.
Yep.
Yup. I guess.
Either that or maybe... Well, even if you said Bonanza, that was still dangerous times.
Yeah, but there was no.
Yeah, there was no...
So we're going to do a zombie issue. When is it coming up, Vance?
Probably right before the Halloween month. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I got.
Oh, that's it. Interesting, especially since you're not doing anything later than 75. That even negates Dawn of the Dead.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna. Part of it is going to take a good hard look at
Romero.
Right, and part of it's going to take a good hard look at the pre-Romero
Zombies.
voodoo zombies.
Yeah, because you still got White Zombie, you've got King of the Zombies, Revolt of the Zombies, Zombies on Broadway,
I Walked with a Zombie.
Oh, yeah, it's a brilliant movie.
Yeah.
Okay, two-part question then. What year was the first Blind Dead movie, and would you consider those zombies?
71.
And yes, they're zombies. They drink blood, though. They don't eat flesh.
What about you, Dave? You seem like you would have a different opinion on the matter.
On what?
Whether the Blind Dead zombies were zombies or were they ghosts or...
They don't drink blood, correct?
They do drink blood.
They drink blood, but they don't. They don't eat flesh.
Right, because their face don't move hardly at all.
I never, when I watched those movies, I never thought in my head zombie. I always thought, I don't know,
Vengeful spirits.
Yeah, I guess something along those lines. Something sort of that I couldn't put a name to, and that's why I liked them so much. And I don't know. I thought they were very brilliantly conceived, and a lot of those sequences were so well filmed, and a lot of the connective tissue in the movies wasn't so good.
Right. The scenes with the Templars is just freaky, scary, and it's nightmare fuel. 100% nightmare fuel.
Yeah, one of my favorite non-Romero, like I guess pre-71 zombie movies would be that one. I forget maybe it was King of the Zombies, Kingdom of the Zombies. It was the one that had that guy and he was hypnotized at one point into thinking he was a zombie, and he was hanging out with the zombies, and the maid was trying to convince him he wasn't a zombie.
That's it. King of the Zombies.
Yeah.
Mantan Moreland's a great comic, and he steals the movie. And
definitely, yeah.
He just, it's a great movie, and a lot of people are like, oh, this. No, watch it and remember that Mantan Moreland pretty much took over the whole film. And there's a sequel to the film in which the director said, no, you need to reel it in. And when he did, the movie kind of falls flat. But the original, King of the Zombies, in 1943, is just a real treat. Great movie, a lot of fun, and Captain America's in the movie as well.
Dick Purcell.
Correct.
Now, what was the sequel? Revenge of the Zombies?
Right, Revenge
with John Carradine.
Right. John Carradine did a great job in it.
Yeah.
But for Mantan Moreland, the director said, let's reel it in. And he didn't get to do all his comedy and kind of like lead it.
Yeah.
Which I felt like he got to do that in the 43 film. But it's like comedy levels kind of goes down.
Yeah.
So you have to rely on the bland lead that they have. But John Carradine's great, is the villain, so it's good stuff.
Yeah, I was first exposed to that movie from Zacherley's Horrible Horror. Remember the Good Times video from the 80s?
Oh, yeah, we all have that one, I think.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the original 80s release didn't have the film titles. So there were all these scenes of movies I knew so well from watching that tape over and over and over again, but I didn't know the names of the movies until years and years later.
Yes, true.
One of my favorite bits on that was the Barry Atwater Dracula Ritual short film that originally played with Dracula 80 1972 when it was released in America, where Barry Atwater comes up out of a coffin, and I think he does, and he initiates you into the Count Dracula Society.
That is really good. He's a really good, like, cool-looking vampire,
Oh,
too.
it's fantastic. And he played the vampire in the original Night Stalker movie.
And if we might just interrupt here for just a moment. Did you say Night Stalker?
I did.
What's coming up? Let's see, let me think. We got a issue of Monster Magazine coming up, issue number 6, and it will be a beast, and it's nothing but Kolchak the Night Stalker, and we hope everyone can find it and look for it. Right now we have issues 1 through 4 available at advancedkeplerart.com and various places online. Also, issue number 5 premieres this Saturday, the first Saturday in May, and you'll be able to get that pretty soon. And then, like I said, the first part of June, last of May, you'll be able to get the Kolchak issue. We also still have the wonderful, beautiful cards, collector cards, that Ricky did the wonderful artwork on, the covers and everything, and that's available. May 10th, we're not going to do any more signed editions where you can order them after that date for issues 1 through 4. And there's various reasons why, but that ends with May 10th at 5 p.m. that afternoon Central Standard Time for issues 1 through 4. And that's enough of my rambling. Let's get back to the show.
Well, I was going to say, those trading cards you mentioned, it'd be really cool if there was like some kind of video on some kind of video streaming platform that displayed said cards so that people could see exactly what they look like.
You know, I know of such a video somewhere online. Perhaps it's a Slim Carity type person who is doing a program of a Midnight Monster Party variety. Perhaps looking at the cards and talking about how cool they are. And we're so thankful that he did that. Thank you, Slim.
Oh, you're welcome. That doesn't sound right. I don't think that's the right show.
We possibly need to work on a second series.
Yeah, we'll have to wait till we get 4 more issues in the can. So you have to be patient.
Well, we have one already.
Yeah, and then we got to do. There'll be Bride, Kolchak, maybe Godzilla, Zombie, and we'll be able to do 5 actually because of the Halloween one. So
no, I'm talking about with like different people on them, maybe.
Well, that would be the Ricky Blaylock trading cards, not Monster Magazine trading cards. So we'll have to whip that up too.
Necessarily.
Would you folks like to see a Ricky Blaylock card collection or a book of Ricky Blaylock's artwork? Let us know in the comments down below of this video. Ricky Blaylock's a top-notch artist who's been drawing since he was knee-high to a grasshopper. And if you look around on the web, you're going to find his artwork. He's drawn monsters, TV show characters, and they look so real and so good. So let us know in the description if you'd like to see a collection of Ricky's artwork or maybe a collection of Ricky's artwork on cards. Let us know. Thank you very much.
Did you say Godzilla?
Yes, I did. And speaking of Godzilla, recently Al at SuperGhidorah helped out on that special video Slim made for us with the cards. And that was just super awesome. If you have not seen the SuperGhidorah channel on YouTube, go check it out. This dude's got Godzilla toys galore. And if you like Godzilla, your phone's ringing, boss. I think you just kicked Slim offline.
Yeah, I think we.
And man, that was just really top notch for both of you guys to help us out with that. We really do appreciate it. Thank you both so much.
Yes.
Oh, not a problem. I appreciate you sending the cards.
Yeah, and also the $1 million. So just, you know.
Oh, yeah, I must have misplaced that.
The check's in the mail.
Check's in the mail.
We just want to say we really do appreciate you taking your time out and, you know, contacting us and reaching out and promoting us on your videos. And for goodness sakes, you've been real helpful to us, and we really do appreciate it, for real. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Not a problem. The pleasure is all mine.
Well, it looks like, according to the clock on the wall, well, there's no clock on the wall because this is an insane asylum. Anyway, we really do have to get going, and we want to thank you again. We thank Slim Carity for being with us this week. And from all of us here at Monster Magazine, Vance Capley,
Ricky Blaylock,
David Walker.
we say thank you and ghoul night.
Ghoul night.
And that's it.
Cool.
that is a wrap.
Next.
Wow, I am just totally impressed. I never received an envelope like this. I want to send out a huge thank you to Mr. Vance from Monster Magazine. You see, this past October, I was in it, along with Butch Patrick, and it's the #2 issue of October 2018. And as it says right here, Butch Patrick and Dr. Paul Bearer will be lurking for you inside. Look at this. They have cartoons, they have articles. Oh, who's that? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh, there's the creature from the Black Lagoon. I'm telling you, look at the artwork of this. It's very impressive. All you got to do is look up Monster Magazine on Facebook, Twitter, and any other social medias.